The young man was chatting about the new moon festival in Japan. They say that there will be a night excursion with ghosts. But the guy answered everyone that this is not true. He did not believe in the existence of ghosts. He said that they were not in the Middle Ages to believe in it. The guy added that if ghosts really exist, then why didn't they come to kill him? Meanwhile, outside the window of the house there was bad weather. It was raining, thunder roared and lightning flashed. After the young man's words, there was a stir in the chat. The guy did this on purpose. The young man's name was Harvey. He was a strong man. From childhood he was not afraid of ghosts, and was a materialist. Harvey believed that there were no ghosts, no matter what he had seen in his life, so he did not believe in these perverted fairy tales. According to legend, this is a TV that was in the room, but no one bought it. They say that 10 people died in this room in one day. It was very cold in the apartment at night. The coffee table was stained with blood. The guy realized that with such furniture, he could easily knock it out at a low price. And Harvey's biggest hobby was, the guy wrote a message that if the boy did not provide him with evidence, then the ghost uncle would steal his new car. The young man's entire life's hobby was hanging out and arguing on various forums, hitting these ghost lovers where they hurt. The young man wrote a message that his interlocutor laughed so much, he thought he had beaten him. But the guy stepped on the gas. Only these squabbles, it was all one throwing at each other. No aggression and a rich vocabulary to end it. Fortunately, Harvey only had good thoughts in his heart. He received messages from every ghost lover. Suddenly, the young man noticed a shadow behind him. The young man thought that these were the same old habits: ridicule, attacks, intimidation and threats. A message appeared on the guy's phone asking if he really wasn't afraid of him. Harvey thought that these people didn't have their own lives. They were still children. Then the guy received a new message that a certain boy would receive an education in computer science in order to teach Harvey the technology of transforming into the ghost of his father. The young man considered this message something new and cool. Harvey replied that he was doing poorly at school, but every day he reads all sorts of shit on the internet. Doesn't he feel sorry for his parents? Or is he an orphan? Then the young man did not advise consoling himself, the death of both parents, as a reason to believe in ghosts. But suddenly a message came to the guy's phone that someone was going to break into his house on the day of his death. The young man didn't understand what it was and why. After which the guy wrote another message saying welcome to Daddy's House of Horrors. At that moment a girl with long black hair got out of the TV behind him. The young man cheerfully added that if he dared to crawl, he would knock the soul out of him with a hammer. Finally, the young man wrote that ghosts are not as scary as Daddy in anger. And then the girl from the TV got close to the guy and put her hand on his shoulder. The unknown woman said that she was here, behind him. The young man turned around and nonchalantly told her to stay there. If he had been in front, he would have long ago thrown her mother backhand into the river. But, unfortunately, she was already there. Then the girl opened her mouth, revealing her sharp teeth. Harvey thought it was a well-done joke. The young man hits the girl with his fist. At the same time, the guy loudly told the unknown woman to get out, and pointed to the door. He added that crawling out of his grandfather's TV like that, it cost money. Harvey asked what was on the stranger's head. He added that she managed to scare her, but still her mother was doomed. The young man pointed to pay attention to how he hit her twice in the face, as if not to the point of concussion. Next time he would hit her in the head. The girl says in an ominous tone to repent, but the guy again wanted to say something about his mother. Suddenly the girl's mouth became huge. An unknown woman called the guy trash. She just decapitated him with one bite. Harvey's head in her stomach said that she couldn't even bite the body. The girl was shocked that even after this the guy didn't believe in ghosts. The unknown woman said that why don't they continue? The guy poked at the sore spot and begins to lose his temper. In the end, he still remains a piece of garbage that lies here and cannot get up. The unknown person noted the stench here. The girl decided to return to TV. Although she ate the guy, she still felt like she had lost. The lady hoped that in the next life this guy would end up in a world with a bunch of ghosts who would treat him like he should. Meanwhile, the guy's headless body remained lying on the floor covered in blood. Harvey's consciousness was evaporating somewhere. He realized that something was wrong. The guy realized that he had just died, and this was a punishment. Sometime later at Harvey's house, someone was crying and calling the young man's name. He tried to open his eyes, after which the guy noticed a crying girl above him with white hair and a school uniform. The girl said that this couldn't be true, that Harvey was dead. Then the white-haired girl decided to kiss the guy on the lips. It was all in the bathroom. A stranger was sitting on a guy. He was lying on the floor. Harvey tried to understand what the girl had just said. The young man did not understand what was happening, unless a minute ago he fought with a ghost that burst into his house. And the guy didn't understand why some girl was sitting on him now. The stranger took a break, but then touched the guy's lips again. Harvey abruptly pushes the lady with white hair away from him. The guy thought that it was she who killed him and began to question the girl. The young man said that this girl was the ghost who wanted to scare him, but the girl lay scared and kept silent. Harvey asks another question about who sent her, while the guy waves his fists. The white-haired girl abruptly throws herself on the guy's neck with words about how nice it is that he didn't die. He's really alive. For her it was a relief. The girl hugs the boy tightly and cries. The young man did not understand the girl's reaction. Harvey looked at the reflection of the water on the bathroom floor and wondered why he looked like a girl. Suddenly, strange memories came into the guy's head. Flashbacks enveloped him, as the young man left a suicide note, which said that he was born into a dysfunctional family in Japan. His parents died early, his older sister disappeared, and the family was burdened with a curse. Due to the fact that Harvey could see ghosts, he was bullied at school. The guy spent all his days in fear, and on his 16th birthday, the guy's bloodline curse intensified. The guy saw a lot of terrible things. He didn't know what the meaning of such a life was. With these thoughts, the guy went into the bathroom to drown himself. But then that white-haired girl ran in. She called out to Harvey and leaned towards the bathroom. A girl with white hair pulled the guy out of the water. She laid the young man's body on the floor. The young man noticed that for those who believe in paranormal phenomena, life is not so sweet. Harvey did not understand that he was also known in the same way in his new life. The guy noted changes in his body. The muscles that he trained so hard disappeared. The young man did not understand why he turned out to be such a weakling. The young man thought that no matter what, after all, he was also a person who was deceived by paranormal things. Maybe he could save the rest of that guy's life. Since Harvey didn't know how to get back into his body, the young man decided to live a good life for this guy with the same name as him. But the young man did not understand who the white-haired person was and why she was so close. Suddenly the girl pulled away from the guy. She said that she was sorry. She read his posts on social networks, in which the guy repeatedly posted suicide notes. She was touched when she saw that he was okay. Harvey realized that this stranger must be the girl of the previous owner of the body. The guy liked that from the very beginning he had such a beautiful girl in his arms. The young man understood that he committed suicide. The young man added that he was sorry that he was some kind of trash bag who believed in ghosts and loved all these stories. The guy couldn't even commit suicide. The guy added that he was even going to commit suicide in the bath. But he was so sorry that he couldn't. He thought about suicide because of such a trifle, and considered himself a fool. The white-haired girl considered the young man strange, as if he wasn't him at all. The girl with white hair decided that it didn't matter, however, she still regretted that the boy wanted to commit suicide. The stranger stroked the young man on the head and said that it's okay. There will always be moments when he will feel lost. If everything is good now, then everything is fine everywhere. The guy pressed himself closely to the lady's softness and realized that now it's really much better. Harvey noted that 20 years later he finally felt the warmth of a beautiful girl. The white-haired girl said that if the guy comes across something that bothers him, he can always tell her about it. So don't let him get depressed or lose heart. The young man simply enjoyed the girl's softness. The lady with white hair asked what the guy was talking about when he said softly. Harvey knew he was being stupid when he said it without even thinking. The girl asked again what kind of things were soft. It was already late in the starry night outside the windows of the house. The young man quickly retracted his words. He realized that now he had nothing to worry about. He needed to study well every day in order to enter Tokyo University. The guy added that it was already so dark, and he, like a real man, was obliged to take the lady home. The young man drove the girl. The same one asked the young man not to worry. Harvey asked the white-haired girl that didn't they write in the newspaper that there had been a lot of disappearances lately? The girl responded by asking a question about the case of serial murders. Someone said that they think that everyone is as innocent as Harvey. An unknown person will report him. When he changes his mind, it will be too late. A shadow was following the guy. Suspicious chuckles could be heard from the space. Harvey whips around, wondering why some creep is still screaming at this hour. The young man understands that everything is really bad. He is alone. The white-haired woman notices the guy's strange behavior. Harvey notes that the streets are so dirty. Even though they are public places, there are riots all around. If he had known in advance, he would have taken action, and the air is also so dirty. The guy pointed his finger forward and said that these shameless people wait until night and come out to spy on everyone. The girl with white hair asked Harvey what he was talking about and where he was looking, because she didn't see all of this. Mean old men appeared in front of the guy. Their huge eyes looked straight into the soul. The girl looked around excitedly, not understanding what was happening to the guy. The young man suddenly realizes that the street is not dirty at all. It is clean and orderly, but there are no people here. The lady said she thought it was better this way. She decided that Harvey still had mysophobia. The guy sat down by the pole, and the girl asked if everything was okay with him. Suddenly the guy said that even such an outstanding girl as Matilda was used to such a sloppy environment. It is clear that the quality of life here is not very good. Of course, some important people are certainly clean and tidy. Suddenly Harvey heard a drop of liquid fall. Afterwards, the young man felt some kind of moisture on his head. The young man ran his hand over his head, and then looked at the palm. It was covered in something very sticky to the touch. The guy raised his head up and spoke angrily to the unknown. Who was he to spit down on him? Matilda asked the guy to calm down, believing that the air conditioner could just have broken down. But the young man screamed that if the air conditioner was broken, then it should be regulated normally. And that unknown man stood there importantly. Let him come out and get it from his daddy. His father was probably so disappointed that he didn't raise him more decently. Speaking of his city, does the girl know that they have a lot of people condemning them for unsanitary conditions? Today the guy finally saw all this. It was tender to take action. Matilda wondered if Harvey really could see what others couldn't. At that moment, a certain rustling of leaves was heard in the crown of the tree. Someone's legs were hanging from a tree branch. It was some girl. She reasoned that the guy could really feel the drops from her body. It seems that his spiritual energy is not so weak. The stranger decided to simply use the young man to refresh herself. The phantom lady stated that the target had fallen into a trap. A little later, already at home, the young man went to bed. The ghosts waited for the moment when the guy fell asleep. The spirits noticed something about the guy. They realized that Harvey's soul had changed. It had become tastier. Some of the spirits thought that the guy would be one of them, but nothing, he will definitely become. Here the conversation of the ghosts was interrupted by the appearance of that stranger from the tree. The girl said that the boy could only be hers. All souls became wary after the appearance of this lady. This lady was the snow demon Sue, and she said that no one would dare to interfere. The small ghosts replied that they understood, because powerful spiritual pressure was emanating from the demon. The spirits asked about this power that came from that very place. Sue asked the little ghost to be quiet, not to talk too much and not to ask unnecessary questions, or even better, to get lost altogether. The demon crept up to Harvey's bed and climbed under the covers. Sue noted that the guy has a lot of spiritual strength. The lady thought that if she swallowed the young man, the wounds left after the last battle would immediately evaporate. And the girl decides to do so. She has already touched the guy's body language. Harvey closed his eyes sleepily. Then the young man suddenly breaks down and notices a white-haired stranger at his feet. Sue continued to touch the guy's body with her tongue. The young man decides to call out to her. But then the guy thinks that this is just his first day, and some Japanese woman has already grabbed him, which makes the young man feel awkward. The demon said that this amount was enough for her. Her claws were covered with ice. Sue squeezes her hand and is about to kill Harvey, but then the guy suddenly comes into shock. The image of a young man appeared in the young man's face, who, grabbing Harvey by the shoulders, said that he was going to eat him. The guy starts screaming loudly from the unexpected situation. Harvey tells him how the guy can do this with his little hands and who he is and why he's touching him. The young man thinks that the guy in front of him is a pervert, and not the demon Sue. Harvey begins to punch the free-spirited young man in the face. This was according to the guy's imagination, because he was still asleep as he walked. But in reality he was sitting in front of the white-haired woman and waving his fists. And then the guy really swings and hits the girl in the face. Sue is surprised that the young man can see her and clutches his cheek. But Harvey was still sleeping. He shouted that the supposed guy thought he was blind and decided to swing his fists again. The ghosts that were standing nearby wanted to leave, but the guy shouted at them where they were going. The spirits called the ghost of the shark for help. Harvey noted that an iron blow, of course, is not bad, but it's better to let them flirt with girls rather than hit them. Meanwhile, the demon attacked by blows was thinking about the little monster. Sue said that her clothes were almost torn into pieces. None of those exorcists even dared to do that to her. The girl was floating in the air right above Harvey's bed. The demon decided that she had to eat the guy tonight, otherwise she would never wash away this shame. And now Sue is going to send the young man somewhere. But just as the girl was about to swing at the young man, he stretched out his hands in front of her and touched her hair. The young man told her that she had stolen the cap from his bottle of black tea. The girl didn't understand what they were talking about, but the guy was still in a dream. He said that the baby was still saying that, let him give it up, then he can drink his cold black tea. Sue was indignant that the guy would say such a thing. Harvey said that on days when there is not enough money for air conditioning in this heat, it is really difficult to drink. And then the guy accidentally lay down on the girl. She screamed what the young man was doing. The demon did not understand what was happening, but she felt how the young man was absorbing her spiritual power. Sue's strength gradually left her body. Along with the power, parts of the clothing covering her disappeared from parts of her body. Sue could no longer hold back. The guy absorbed almost all of her spiritual power. Harvey himself was still in a state of sleep and completely unaware of what was happening. The girl lay unconscious. The guy had just deprived her of her strength. She could no longer fight him. The young man said that it's good to return when you know where, like iced tea. It's so refreshing and gives strength. Sue was able to get up, but the guy immediately shouted that he was owed 50 coins so that they wouldn't go anywhere, but would come back and give it back. The demon realized that the young man could not only touch her essence, but also absorb her power. The lady was thinking about what it would be like to have such strength as Harvey. This meant that ghosts were traveling through the human world. Sue thought that if she could serve the master, then her ghost life would not exist. The next morning, someone started waking Harvey up, calling him master. The young man opened his eyes displeasedly to look at the one who disturbed his sleep. Sue stood in front of him, dressed as a maid and holding a plate of food. But the young man was not happy about this awakening. He got angry and asked what the girl was doing in his house. The guy added that he looked like some kind of daddy, again asked the lady who she was, and then compared his house to a public toilet, where people come and go as they please. But then Sue said that especially for him, big boys like this, she prepared black tea. The young man noted that she was creating problems. The demon bent down and carefully poured black tea into the cup, after which she took off her shoes and jumped onto the bed with a kettle in her hands. Then the girl added that she almost forgot about it. It seems that last night the gentleman said that he loved younger people. Sue picked up the teacup with her white stocking feet and froze the tea. The demon said it was cold black tea, but the guy didn't appreciate it. He asked the lady not to do that. It's too disgusting, and her feet stink. The girl tried to object. However, the young man grabs Sue by the collar and tells her that she broke into his house, sticks her smelly feet in his face and behaves like a lady of easy virtue. And the guy also asked if he was her foot doctor. The demon told the gentleman that she had come to find him. But the young man shouted phrases like defend his honor, stop putting pressure, otherwise you'll get it now, she's stealing in such a poor and decrepit place, completely unscrupulous. Today the guy will have to take her to the police station. The officer will look after her. But for now let her think about her mistakes. Give her a few years to organize her own gang of sewing machines in prison. Then the guy realized that his new body is so frail and weak. Harvey thought about how he could sleep at all. The more he slept, the more tired he got. It was like he was punching a punching bag in his sleep. But the girl repeated to him that the gentleman remembered incorrectly. While the guy was dragging the lady out of the temple, at that moment someone was watching him from above. Some suspicious guy in a suit clutched a blue glowing stone in his hand, which made Harvey suddenly feel something. The guy pointed to the building and said that there is something inside. Industrial waste is being thrown out early in the morning, polluting the atmosphere. Industrial gases cause smog. They don't understand anything at all. A minute ago, some lady called her older brother. She explained that yesterday they were chasing that snow girl. The lady was a rainbow constellation, a spiritual being, Shelley's goddess. The unknown magician said that time was running out. If they did not have time to catch her before the night parade of ghosts, then by that time a strong demon might appear that they could not cope with. This guy was the director of the Special Inspection Office, Sean. The man said, although the degree of pollution of this world is not the same as that of the magical world, the gods and demons from the magical world can be hidden under protective cover, and ghosts and demons of a level like her are not so simple. Sean added that while the barrier between the two worlds is being destroyed by this force. With these words, the guy squeezed the sphere. Around them, the space seemed to be in inversion. The young man came across her trail. The goddess also stood all alert. Sean told Shelley to be ready to attack while he aimed his gun. Harvey was at gunpoint, screaming. According to him, there was chaos all around, and he also asked Sean why he was aiming at him. Shelley said there was a girl next to her screaming something. The president asked her what she was saying, but the goddess says that she will simply display her weapon for everyone to see. With these words, the girl called on her power. It was a stick with pieces of paper flying around it. The young man immediately stopped screaming and said that he was a good hard-working citizen. Harvey knelt down and stretched his arms up. Shelley asked Sean what language the guy spoke. The president said it sounded like Chinese, and suggested that someone among them spoke Japanese. But Harvey suddenly forgot how to speak out of excitement, after which the guy said that his brain had really dried out a little. He apologized to the sir, but then said that okay, it doesn't matter. The young man said that he had caught a thief of his things, who broke into his house and attacked him, and Harvey prepared her and brought her here. The guy added that the criminal said that her name was Sue. She even stole her name so that others wouldn't recognize her. After which the young man said that he didn't need to talk here. It was time to go to school, so he told them to pick up the lady. Shelley recognized Sue's name and was very amazed. Sean commanded the goddess to act only on his commands. The girl flew into the air with her weapon. Shelley decided she wouldn't let her escape this time. The president noted skeptically that the gods are all the same. Harvey noticed a girl flying up to him. He noted that she had strange things. It was like cosplaying as a demon. The guy added that there was also a guy who jumped out of nowhere. Perhaps he was some kind of athlete. Shelley shouted to the young man to be careful behind him. The goddess herself descended very close to Harvey. The young man turned around to look at what the stranger pointed out to him, and was surprised. Sue was holding a huge block of ice. The girl said that she thought she managed to escape, but those people are here again. The demon screamed that they were the scum of the ghost world and told them to die. But at that moment she was hit in the face with a fist. It was Harvey. He punched the demon with all his might. Sue flew quite far away from him, as the blow was strong. The guy said he hated this annoying chatter. The demon landed at Shelley's feet. The young man himself said goodbye to them, turned around and walked away. The goddess was delighted with the guy's strength. He was so strong that even one blow was enough for him. But Shelley and Sean couldn't catch her all night, and he just killed Sue with one blow. The girl noted that perhaps this guy's spiritual power is much more powerful. He just spoke Chinese. Maybe he left so quickly so as not to reveal his identity. Shelley suggested that the guy might be an unprecedented master from the East, a new deity. In a place inaccessible to ordinary people, terrible things are happening, and it's all about ghosts living in the other world. To prevent them from entering this world, masters who practice Shinto, Buddhism and other practices have kept ghosts at bay for centuries. The balance between the other world and the human world maintained a precarious balance. But there was one thing that could not be stopped, an event that every master feared. This event was the invasion of 100 ghosts during the New Moon Festival. During the new moon, the border between worlds blurs, and the gods and ghosts of the other world take this opportunity to penetrate the world of people. And today, in connection with the approaching new moon, so that ordinary ghosts do not interfere with the work of inspectors during the night parade of 100 ghosts, Shin and Shelley joined forces to capture the evil spirits. The goddess tied Sue with magical threads. But if only this gentleman would help him. The girl looked around and realized that the boy was no longer nearby. She wondered where the young man had gone. At that moment, Harvey started running as fast as he could. The young man didn't understand anything at all. He realized that he really almost died. He met two strange policemen in the morning. How good it was that he quickly ran away so that the guy with the gun wouldn't catch him. The guy's stomach growled. Harvey noticed that the original owner, this damn boy, was such a weakling. He ate in the morning. Why did the body want it again? The guy was so hungry. He was incredibly hungry. That's all he lacked. Here the guy was called by name. The young man returns his gaze to the street and throws out a short question. The girl screams for the boy to be careful. At the same moment, the guy crashes into the girl and knocks her down. Harvey was indignant that even young people could stumble like this on the street. Asked if they liked it, then the guy warned that they would wait. They took out credit for their dirty cars, so the guy warned them that he would teach them a lesson. It was the headman. The young man did not understand why she was dressed like that, but said that it was okay, they could handle it. In such clothes, he thought, it would be very comfortable to run around the streets. The girl was wearing an open leather rabbit suit. The young man realized that he was really falling in love with this life more and more. The white-haired one said that this is not what he thinks. It is only today that she looks like this. It is for a bunny girl-themed event. The girl thought that she might accidentally end up next to the guy and feed him during the lunch break. That's why she's here. The lady thought that if she pays more attention to the boy, he won't do anything stupid. The head girl asked the guy if he had lunch and offered to try what she bought. But then the bottom of the bag fell through and the sandwich fell on the girl's leg. A classmate was upset that Harvey's food fell out. The girl looked at the guy doomedly, and the sandwich, which had fallen through the bottom of the bag, lay on her foot. The head girl apologized to Harvey, and said that she would bring a new one. But the young man was carefully looking at the food on her leg, saw a strip from the sandwich, soaking the girl's stockings. But the guy at that moment was not thinking about anything else except the sandwich and food. The young man thought, what was the point of such politeness? Now that she had spoken out, the guy sat down closer to the sandwich and took it. The young man slightly lifted the girl's leg. He noticed red beans in the food, which he only liked more and created an appetite. The guy starts eating without much thought. But the head girl noted Harvey's behavior with unacceptable things, and the white-haired girl was very embarrassed. But the young man just continued to chew, noting that there was nothing terrible about it. While eating a sandwich, the guy accidentally grabs a girl's stocking with his teeth and pulls it off. Harvey said it didn't matter if the sandwich was dirty or smelly, there was only meat in the guy's mouth. The girl thought that her classmate did this on purpose so as not to put her in an awkward position, and added that he had a tender heart. The guy noticed that despite the fact that the sandwich tasted good, he had stockings in his mouth, so he didn't understand what was wrong with this sandwich. The classmates sat down on the bench. The girl suggested that the young man go home and then finish eating, but Harvey said that nothing would happen. He was not an excellent student. But the white-haired girl said that today was a new moon. According to one of the legends, ghosts come out into the streets on this night. The lady put her lost shoe back on and added that the fog that had been there since the morning was even more frightening, as if something terrible was about to come out of it. The guy answered her that there was thick fog here, which indicated the poor ecology of this place. The young man was wondering whether it was really so difficult to cope with the smog in broad daylight. Those who were responsible for it completely lost their fear. The white-haired girl said that she remembered that the young man could see some things hidden from the eyes of others. She asked her classmate if this was really so. The girl added that if the guy was scared at home, then if he wanted, he could come to her. Then the classmate asked why the young man suddenly fell silent, whether it sounded ambiguous. But Harvey didn't expect the prefect to be like this. They weren't even from the same group. The girl said that wasn't what the guy was thinking about. The young man said that he should look at the so-called night parade of hundreds of monsters, see what kind of people pretend to be them and spread rumors. The white-haired girl understood what worried the guy so much. Harvey shouted to 100 ghosts, "Why don't they come out and chat with him right now?" At that moment, the voices of strangers were heard. The light from the lantern cracked and flickered. Something strange and gloomy appeared in the distance. The guy shouted that where is the little stupid child who runs around after school and plays with the light? The white-haired girl took the young man by the hand and noted that it seemed that the sky had darkened. A dark silhouette appeared in front of them. The silhouette smiled maliciously and invited the guy to play with him. Meanwhile, Shelley continued to look for the boy, not understanding where he could have gone. There was a black sun in the sky. The boundaries of this layer are still unable to resist the otherworldly. Apparently the night parade will start earlier. Watching the sky, Shelley was worried about everything. The girl thought that even if the boy was a mysterious master from the east who did not know the local customs, the coming of hundreds of gods and ghosts at the night parade would all end worse than good. But the goddess does not give up and understands that she needs to find a guy as soon as possible. At this moment, the ghost was already close to Harvey and offered to play with him. The girl told the boy that something was wrong here and suggested that he quickly get out of here. But the guy said that it was just a solar eclipse. Aren't the parents worried about this child? Even if there are ghosts, they can't let the child play ball here in such darkness. The young man got up from the bench and asked the child where his mother was. The baby's head rolled to the guy's feet and asked his brother to help him with the ball. The white-haired girl had a hard time restraining herself from screaming. The guy noticed that the boy's ball was downright unique. The kid again asked his brother to help him with the ball, to lift it, otherwise he would have to replace this ball with a rubber one. But the young man told the boy that he studied poorly in his youth, so his knowledge was only enough to scare people, and he also spent so much money on decorations. With these words the guy kicked the ghost's head. Harvey added that he saw through the boy. He simply hid his head under his clothes. The spirit was outraged by the guy's actions. He asked what he was doing and why he didn't pick up the ball, why he wasn't afraid of him, what was wrong with him. The guy said with a smile that he couldn't even imagine what was in the mind of a person who pretended to be a ghost using such pathetic props. He had seen too many of these guys filming everything on camera for the sake of laughter. The young man added that since the ghost likes to make fun of others and film their reactions, it is not surprising that his parents allow him to run through the streets at night, because he is a little orphan who no one needs. Today his daddy will teach him a lesson. The ghost tried to object to the young man that his head was not a football sword, but Harvey told the spirit if he didn't want to tell him something like, "Uncle, teach me how to play football." After which the young man loudly shouted, "Let's play football," and kicked his head. Suddenly there was a deafening roar. This sound, along with the force field, spread throughout the entire area. This also dawned on Shelley. She could barely resist the surging force wave. By the cry, the girl realized that the ghost exploded and died. He wondered if the gods and ghosts from that world were already here. The white-haired girl asked Harvey if this was not terrible, but the young man said that everything was fine. He had to teach the boy a lesson so that next time he wouldn't scare people. The girl calmed down and added that it was very sad. This child dared to go out at such a time. He must be one of those who believes in this paranormal nonsense, and given his age, he must be very smart. The guy said that it's a pity that such a smart child has such a terrible character. Harvey hoped that this evening made him think about his mistakes. They probably helped this young man meet his future, as smart as a book and righteous people. But suddenly something happened to the white-haired girl's body. The evil divine spirit tried to take over her body. The young man turned to the elder. The guy asked what was wrong with the girl. The white-haired one said that she suddenly felt cold. The head girl snuggled up to Harvey to keep warm. But then the girl looked up at him, which was different from her previous one. Her face was very close to the guy, and he asked her to stop. Suddenly the white-haired girl tells the young man that now he won't run away and now she's hot. Harvey asked the girl to let him go. He asked her why she was so cold, just icy. Suddenly a lady with white hair began to ask the guy for intimacy, and said that she adores guys as hot as him. The young man was embarrassed and asked if this was right, but the girl asked him not to worry. The guy screamed for help and asked the headman to stop. Then Shelley appeared. She felt the powerful energy of an evil spirit in this place. But then the goddess noticed the girl's obscene pose. The lady thought that perhaps it was a male ghost who was going to suck out the energy. The girl decided that she would not allow this to happen. Then the guy heard an approaching noise. He turns around to assess the situation. A girl appeared above his head. She called the young man a scoundrel, and she flew straight at his head, holding a seal in her fingers. The goddess orders the guy to immediately release this girl. She covered Matilda with herself. She still had that amulet in her fingers. Shelley puts a talisman against evil spirits on the guy's body, but Harvey still stood in place and did not disappear anywhere. The goddess looked around and realized that in front of her was that same screaming guy. The young man asked the girl what she was doing. The talisman in her hands was carried away by the wind. Shelley didn't understand where the strong spiritual energy was coming from then. But then a girl in a rabbit costume made herself known and hugged the goddess. Matilda hung closely on the girl. She did not know what to expect from her. The white-haired girl in the bunny costume asked if she wanted to join. Shelley realized that this trace of the evil spirit belonged to her. The talisman, which flew off into the grass, suddenly sparkled with iridescent light. The light spread across the grass between Shelley, Matilda, and Harvey. The young man fell on his back and began shouting that he would destroy him now. The parade had not yet begun. But why not bring down this entity? Shelley said that she felt sorry for this lady, but with the level of her magical power, she would not be able to stop Matilda yet. The goddess was only able to bind the one possessed by an evil spirit with magical threads. The girl realizes that there is something she can do. Shelley grabs the talisman and places it on the white-haired bunny suit's forehead. The goddess explained that now the evil spirit in her body had temporarily calmed down. The young man did not understand what this woman was doing. He tried to prick her with a word on her figure. Harvey grabbed the goddess by the head. She screamed that the young man was doing such a thing. The guy said that her head was so round that it looked like she had never been put in a corner as a child. Then the young man decided to pull Shelley's cheeks, and she demanded to let her go. Harvey said that this woman was in pain and asked the goddess why she was putting these strange patches on other people's foreheads. The young man said that the headman was about to faint from pain. He noted that the quality of medical education leaves much to be desired. Shelley told the guy that it seemed to her that she had some kind of spiritual power. Didn't the young man see that the white-haired woman was possessed by an evil spirit? The goddess asked Harvey to help her take the girl to the inspection department. She would find someone who could help her. The guy noticed that there was something else strange here. Shelley handed Matilda to the young man and asked him to carry her. Harvey asked the lady to pay attention to the street. It was very clean. The young man asked the goddess if there were monsters, ghosts, and anyone else here. The girl also noticed that this was strange. She doubted that today was really the night of the new moon. Shelley noted that everything here is not like in Kyoto or Tokyo, where there are large temples and shrines that need to be suppressed. This is an ordinary small town. The girl wondered how it could be so clean here. The guy summed up that everything that the goddess said about the night of the new moon turned out to be stories. The young man said that there was a girl walking in the distance, and everything was fine with her. Shelley was shocked, because just now no one had been here. The bells on the unknown woman's skirt were ringing alarmingly. A gloomy silhouette of an unknown person appeared in front of them. The goddess understood why there were no ghosts here. Because ghosts are like wild beasts, and the most powerful beast always keeps the others in line. The girl standing in front of them was a ghost of alienation. She can be classified as both a ghost and a god. Although, if you look at it this way, there is nothing even close to demons or ghosts in it. She is surrounded only by the physical presence of despondency and frustration, which means that demons of high level and status have made their way into the world. Although, in comparison with other ghosts, for example, with the ghost machine that likes to eat children, or with the ghost of the temple that bit out her pilgrims' throats, this girl looks much more tender. But Shelley still felt deep fear. And fear is not only in the head, but also physical. Ghosts and gods know how to intimidate people so that no one can resist them. There was only one solution in the goddess's head. It was to escape. Although a shameful thought came into her head, but by combining their forces, they can only escape without touching her. Shelley said that this is the only safe way. At that moment, this ghost girl approached them. The young man shouted to the lady about why she shouldn't go home so late in the evening, but the goddess tried to hide the screaming guy from view. Shelley was indignant and asked what the guy was doing. Was he tired of living? Wasn't he afraid of anything? The guy replied that he was afraid of hammers, very afraid. The girl thought that the guy really has some kind of trump card. How can he cope with her? They are all just terrible creatures. They are almost impossible to destroy. Even with the help of 2 or 3 people it will be difficult to cope. In reality, the guy was thinking about whether he would faint from hunger. It was probably useless to wait for that asshole. And maybe this strange girl had something tasty. While waiting for the guy, the picture emerged that Harvey would tell her okay, ask her not to put pressure on him, and tell her to go to the temple alone if he thinks it's dangerous here. But in reality, the young man told her that no one was forcing her, she could get out of here. Shelley thought that since the guy was chasing her away, maybe he wanted to hold her for her, and then planned to run away. The goddess thought that perhaps Harvey knows that there is a temple behind her, so she wants her to go there for help. In this way they would negate the consequences of the sudden appearance of a ghost. This was all Shelley's guess. The girl thought that Harvey just wanted to save others. The guy even cursed on purpose to hide his good intentions. Although the goddess was inexperienced, she was not a fool. Shelley bowed to the young man and said that she would return as soon as possible, thanked him and asked him to wait for her with help. Harvey himself turned away coldly and said that he would never forget her act. The girl said that even though today was their first date, she would always remember the guy. The young man was at a loss. He said that he swore at the lady with offensive words, and she thanked him instead of covering him with retaliatory insults. The guy said that he was no longer 4 years old, so let him finally take off his mask of kindness. But the goddess regarded his words as a consolation that he still consoles her. Of course, he is a good person. Shelley added that the guy should stay here, and she would return soon. The young man was angry that this crazy woman ran away. But then that ghost of a girl came up to the guy and asked what the guy thought. She was beautiful. The girl's eyes glowed with a crazy red light, and there was a mask on her face. Harvey jumped away from her and said that no, she thought it was normal to look like that. The guy added that of course he understands everything, but you still need to respect yourself, and in general, they still don't even know each other. But then the young man realized that he seemed to want to ask her for help. The girl asked that the guy now considers her ugly, and then started screaming. The young man covered her face with his hand and said to wait a little and not to rush. There's no need to do it all at once, because he's just worried. Then Harvey decided to say something to the masked stranger. The young man asked the girl if she had a gasket. The masked stranger did not quite understand the essence of this question. The guy said that everything was right, people just don't lie there as if paralyzed. The pain, numbness and dizziness went away. The young man realized that he was wasting so much time because of this stupid prefect. But he told that miss that if she didn't have. But then the young man noticed that the masked stranger suddenly disappeared from sight. The brunette came up with Matilda, who was lying unconscious, and said that she was possessed. It chose a good place, quite good. Harvey was just wondering how the ghost got there so quickly. Was she really an athlete? Then a ghost appeared that had taken possession of the girl. He told the masked stranger that this was already his place. If she already knew, then let her fuck off. But the brunette told the ghost that he was in vain and took off the mask. The girl asked the sign if he really didn't know who she was, and with these words she showed her huge teeth. The ghost said that it seemed the girl was Mrs. Tiffany. There was fear and horror on the ghost's face. He clearly knew about Tiffany's power. The girl with black hair said that now that the ghost realized that she was here, she could not retreat. In front of the huge open mouth, the ghost said that she had no bad intentions. Tiffany told the spirit that she would belong to her that night, after which the brunette grabs the ghost stitches and pulls it out of Matilda's mouth. The white-haired girl was freed from the spirit that had possessed her. The girl was just lying there unconscious. Tiffany said that she was now looking forward to tonight's dinner even more, after which the ghost licked her lips and looked predatorily at her victim. Then a young man ran up and called the girl a stinking wench. He said that he asked her for a pad or a towel, and she left it here to have fun. The guy added that even if she likes girls, she doesn't need to kiss the first person she meets. The ghost replied that the white-haired girl was fine, but the guy never answered her question. The brunette asked again if she was beautiful, only now her mouth opened to cover the floor of her face, showing numerous teeth. Mentally, the guy would like to tell her that she is so ugly that he's about to vomit. Let him go home and not go out, so as not to scare passers-by with his face. But the guy couldn't say that. The guy considered himself a gallant, an easygoing guy who didn't like to swear. How can one speak so harshly about shortcomings in a person's appearance? It was not for nothing that this ugly woman asked him whether she was beautiful or not. But the guy thirsted for the truth. The young man thought that she was a poor girl. She was an outcast all the time, not only because of her unique ability, but also because of her appearance. She was humiliated. The most important thing is that such a scar at first glance looks unnatural. It looks like it was acquired. Something terrible must have happened to this girl. And even so, she still wears a mask even on hot days, so as not to scare passers-by. Harvey realized that the girl is such a darling. She treats the world with tenderness. But he does not show tenderness in return. Then who, if not the guy, will show kindness to him? Long thoughts began to stress the girl, who did not understand why the guy was silent. The ghost decided that so be it. Then she would allow the young man to become the first dish at today's dinner. With these words, the girl opened her huge mouth and was going to eat the guy. But Harvey asks what she's doing and gently touches her face with both palms. The guy tells the girl that she is unusually beautiful. The young man added that when she took off her mask and appeared in her true form, she became even more attractive. Tiffany didn't expect the guy to say such words. The girl asked if she was really so beautiful. The ghost did not understand why this young man went against her plan. But Harvey repeated that she was really very beautiful, added that she was the most incomparable girl he had ever seen. The proportions of her face were perfect, and her skin was simply incredibly good. The color of her eyes was especially beautiful. She was as charming as her beautiful eyes. With these words, the guy hugged Tiffany lightly. He added that her mouth, he knows that it's possible that she has complexes because of it, but it's really very unique, so red. The young man hesitated for a second and added that the red mouth is like apples picked in the fall. This is kind of the most valuable thing in the harvest. and also added about the teeth that they are so healthy, neat and sharp. It's clear that they are looked after. The guy opened the girl's mouth to make sure of his own words and added that with such teeth, it must be possible to eat absolutely everything, hot, cold, sour or sweet, and whatever your heart desires. Tiffany smiled and asked the young man if this was true. Harvey said that yes, it's true. He doesn't look like a scumbag who can only lie. The girl thanked the young man and told him that he was the first to say that she looked good, to which the guy replied that they had vision problems, and they didn't care what others said. The young man advised her not to listen to them. Harvey added that her own feelings are more important, because the most important thing in life is to be happy. The ghost was shocked by the young man's words. Therefore, the young man told Tiffany to remember, the next time someone insults her appearance, let her remember to shout back. The girl said that she does not have the habit of yelling at people, she usually just eats them. Harvey noted that she has a good sense of humor. The guy stood up and said that having a good sense of humor is good. By the way, he still didn't know the girl's name. The young man explained that instead of attacking a person with questions about whether she is beautiful or not, it is better to introduce himself first. With these words, the young man said his name and asked the girl's name. The girl repeated what the guy asked about her name. The guy nodded and said yes, what is her name? Tiffany knew that if he knew the name of the ghost, it would be good luck, and the ghost would not touch her, and the guy just wanted to know her name. Of course, the guy was like those exorcists, but he wanted to pretend that he cared about her, but in reality he wanted to destroy her. The girl really thought that the guy understood her, but in the end she was almost deceived by the man again. Even if the girl killed him 100,000 times, it would not compare to the wound he left on her heart. Harvey replied that this was too much, because he simply asked what her name was, why the girl was angry with him again. What was wrong with her? But here's something, guy. In addition to the open-minded new generation, there are still women here who are firmly bound by feudal ethics. Even asking a name was as delicate as the topic of life. They can even spill on the clothes they wear. A beautiful girl like her breaks free from restrictions and can wear the clothes she likes. And at the same time, this girl is in front of him. She was dressed in old style, conservative materials. His grandmother, when she goes downstairs for groceries, even dresses better than her. But then the guy remembered that the owner of his current body was an orphan. But this did not change the essence. In her mind, the girl thought of only one thing: to kill the guy who lied to her, to bite through her throat to see how many lies there were in her. The young man simply thought that this is a disease of feudalism. People should not suffer from it. Then the guy thought about clothes. But he is grabbed and hugged. Tiffany says she will first remove his clothes and then separate the skin from his body. But then the young man realized that the girl did not even know her name. Harvey turns to her, grabs her hands and says that he understands everything. The girl tensed and asked him what he understood and what he was up to. The guy happily said to leave everything to him. Tiffany and Harvey went to a nearby clothing store. Although the opinions of others are not that important, but they care about it, which means they still need to make some changes. The young man suggested that the girl look at these socks to see if they make her legs visually longer when worn. Then the guy found a pink and black skirt. They suit her temperament, and are cute and dangerous at the same time. With that, Harvey tossed a few things to the girl to try on. And most importantly, this is a characteristic big mouth. The guy didn't say it was bad, but he just suggested taking this thing and gluing it on. Isn't it better that way? The girl asked what the young man meant. Should she dress differently, and added that she hated it. The guy said, how could it be otherwise? Tiffany said that she thought she looked good anyway. The guy noted that although her clothes were really pretty, they all looked like they were from the last century. The young man said that when people see this style, they begin to cover their mouth with their hands. No one should see her as a ghost girl who has come to life to take revenge. They will simply run away when they notice her. In addition, it seems that the girl communicates well with people, since she can ask the first person she meets on the street like this if she is beautiful, and kiss unknown girls into the bargain. And after this she still does not have the courage to change herself. The guy added that it is shameful to compromise with society, but useful, so he sent the girl forward to meet bold changes, to compromise, and pushed her into the fitting room. The young man closed the door behind her, and said that he would wait for her transformation. Tiffany didn't quite understand what compromise and change meant. The girl wondered if the guy told her the truth then. This is the only thing that worries him. It's just that at the first meeting she asked the young man if she was beautiful. But when the ghost met people who praised her beauty, all of them, seeing the girl's true appearance, either were afraid and ran away, or tried to find a way to drive her away. But this Harvey was different. He was a strange living creature. But at this time the guy tried to calm down. After all, since he tricked the girl into this, he could drive her away immediately after she changed clothes. The guy decided not to wait until the headman wakes up and sees some girl next to him, and thinks that Harvey is some kind of scumbag. But the guy didn't understand one thing: why this store was empty. Did everyone really die, or did she just decide to leave the store open and go relax? But there was a more unpleasant question than how the guy would pay. Since he himself brought her here to buy clothes, he cannot afford to ask her for money, right? The young man decided to forget about it, and just be a good person who does noble deeds. The guy pays for purchases through force and mentally scolds the girl that she will have to live with this for a long time. But while the guy was paying for his purchases, at that moment the girl called him. The ghost came out of the fitting room. The girl said that everything really suited her. Tiffany came out and was wearing cute modern clothes and asked the guy what she looked like. The young man blushed. He noticed that the girl had changed a lot. The ghost wanted to add something and looked away. She put on a mask and said that in order for her to be beautiful, she needs to wear a mask. The girl said that her mouth still scares everyone, so Tiffany just decided to wear this mask. The young man said that it was not necessary and stopped the lady. The guy said that the brunette is beautiful without all this. Tiffany asked if it was better with a mask. The girl decided to look in the mirror. Her stitches on her mouth were now decorated with different ribbons. Harvey said that she is much more beautiful. Her little mouth has now become even cuter and more dangerous. And if we talk about passers-by, the ones she likes can just come up to her, and she won't drive them away. So don't worry about her torn mouth. The girl thanked the guy for the praise. She was pleased that someone cared about her. The ghost thought that the guy really wanted to be her friend. And then the girl approached the guy. Tiffany whispered her real name to him. This shocked the guy. Harvey had heard the name before and knew Tiffany too. The young man became aware when the lady said her name. The guy was amazed at what the girl had to go through. Harvey was perplexed for a moment. The young man simply said that Tiffany was a pretty good name. The guy did not understand what he did last night, and did not understand why he was now experiencing such hallucinations. The young man looked at the girl. The aura around her darkened. The ghost turned to the guy and said that she also remembered all this, after which the girl threw back her mask towards the young man. Harvey warned Tiffany not to throw trash everywhere, but after a moment the girl disappeared from sight. The brunette said that this was her gift, so let the guy use it wisely. The young man took the mask in his hands. It was saturated with dark energy. The guy did not know why he needed this thing. Harvey thought that this was an original mask. He thought about the words the girl said about the guy using it wisely. The young man considered it a joke, as expected from this place, such a strange city. Meanwhile, Shelley reported to the Special Inspection Department in Tokyo that the night procession of hundreds of ghosts began too early. The girl added that she sent a message asking for support, which just hung there for a very long time. But why has no one come to their aid yet? The lady Shelley was talking to said she realized it was a new moon. With the exception of festivals, the time points in the outside world that are most confirmed to be invaded are those in the current world. With their workers fighting invasions all over the country, someone needs to take care of things in this small abandoned place. Because the lady asked not to shout at her, she was one of the leaders of the task force of the Special Inspection Department in Tokyo, and her name was Isabella. Isabella asked Shelley if she thought that someone was messing around. Echoes of conversations could be heard everywhere in the office. Someone announced that they had been informed that there had been an intrusion of an unknown level in the prefecture. Someone else said that there were a large number of ghosts in Tokyo Bay, and asked for support, and to immediately report it to the branch. Shelley noted that Isabella was the slowest of all and did not understand why she got such a group leader. Then the guy came and reported to the girl that, according to the intern's report, an hour ago she met an unofficial unknown psychic, and then they encountered a ghost. The young man said that the level of the invading ghost was unknown. It was assumed that it was a cut-up girl. Isabella thought about the guy's words about a girl with a cut-up mouth. Judging by the photo, it really was her. Suddenly, the girl with pink hair panicked. She said, "Not this." An aggressive ghost appeared on her territory. How could she be the last to know about it? Isabella said that if this would be regarded as an official crime and told the guy to leave. But the young man told the lady that there was no need to worry so much. The reason why the young man did not bother the pink-haired girl all this time is because the cut girl seemed to have been driven away by an unknown psychic. The boss was shocked by what she heard. The guy added that, judging by the information, the psychic said something to the girl, after which the level of danger in the area dropped sharply. Harvey told that girl that she was the most beautiful person he had ever seen. Her skin, her eyes, everything about her was incredible. Her mouth doesn't know, but it's red and looks just like happiness. These teeth must be healthy, neat and sharp. And this guy also noted that her name is not bad. Isabella said that this young man learned the real name of the ghost. It was clearly an attempt to drive away the cut girl. The manager did not understand what kind of method this was. Buying clothes for a ghost, the man noticed that this could be his unique method. But the girl with pink hair thought that, judging by his behavior, he was not intentionally trying to drive away the cut girl. On the contrary, she voluntarily revealed her name to him and voluntarily released this district. The lady summed up that even psychics can win the trust of ghosts. If the guy was initially on the girl's side, then don't they now have another unexpected enemy? To avoid future trouble, they must find out the whole truth in advance. Isabella asked Shelley if her internship project included undercover skills. The goddess asked the leader if she really wanted the girl to do this. Sometime later, Harvey went to the store. The guy thought about what happened in his past life. In all sorts of novels it was said that after traveling through time, the hero meets some mentally retarded characters who see him almost as their father and give him money. The young man just paid $50,000 for rent. Yesterday he helped a girl with low self-esteem buy clothes. And that's still minus $70,000. He called a taxi for the headman and spent another $3,000. Harvey didn't understand why he was the only one handing out money to everyone. The guy thought that the whole point was that the guy was too kind. What a series of bad luck for an already unfortunate person. Where it breaks, he just wanted to know. The young man was outraged by the idiots who wrote the script. He didn't need these useless characters. In fact, there is another way out. Some guy just slipped him a flyer. The hourly rate is here. The guy began to reason that if he worked for an hour a day from Monday to Friday and 8 hours on weekends, then the guy would receive $200,000 a month. He is not just a waiter in a cafe. He is also engaged in smuggling monsters. The young man asked what kind of perverted cafe came up with the name Monster. As they say, not only are they not interested in spirits, any monster that is not amenable to modern science is the result of dementia. The guy had been friends with Confucius for a long time. He couldn't work part-time. If he did, it would be tantamount to ending up in the lower strata. The upper strata, in his opinion, are a salary of $200,000. And the bottom layer, then, is to be the son of a silent strange force, a chaotic god, a poor house and cheap food. The guy shouted out why these two pictures appeared at the same time, how he should make a choice. Harvey decides to get a job. The young man said hello and said that he was here to apply for a job. He realized that this was the most nervous moment of his life. This nervousness is nothing compared to the pressure of the interlocutor. As they say, the one who knows the opponent better is his enemy. A pumped-up woman was sitting at the table, and the guy was thinking that he had been playing with these psychic children for many years and could always refute their arguments line by line. He had 2 must-read books. They were always lying near his computer, so they even wore out over time. But the man in front of him really instilled a sense of fear in the guy. After all, any of them had seen such a muscular man, and also a girl. The lady said that they had really been short of manpower lately. But the guy was fighting the urge not to restrain himself and grab her big muscles and ask if he was her father. The guy tried not to look. He thought that they had clearly done some kind of purification of the human body to get such a result. The woman said that she remembered Harvey. No wonder his name sounded so familiar. The lady said that the guy helped her friend. She is quite popular now. The woman said that since the guy was able to help her, he has pretty good psychic abilities. And if he sees the inscription on the leaflet, it means that the guy is fine with extrasensory vision. Plus the government, the special prosecutor's office. It seems that this lady is also starting to take a closer look at this guy. Information about Harvey was obtained by hacking the system of the special prosecutor's office. Is it possible that they are similar to him? The woman summed up that she would like to ask the guy a couple of questions. The young man was ready to answer. Because this is just an interview, but the pay and title are here. This will clearly not be the easiest question. The lady asked what the guy thought about the existence of ghosts and monsters. The young man immediately replied that such a thing could not be. No one in this world really believes in such a thing. The young man remembered that he was still at the interview. He should appear as an elegant and relaxed person, and not so vulgar. But the guy thought, what kind of question she even asked? What Harvey thinks about monsters and ghosts? He had his own opinion. The young man wanted to send the lady. They are materialists. They never hide their opinions. Even if now he loses a potential job, he will still continue to prove to the woman that no ghosts exist. These are children's fairy tales. But in reality, the young man mumbled that of course anything can happen, but it is possible that the so-called monsters and ghosts are people. The girl grabbed the guy's hands. She noted that the guy's answer was good. It was said. The woman didn't expect the guy to be able to put aside his prejudices. It's really amazing.